We got Oxman. We got Michael Letts coming up. We got your calls 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Ox, you probably don't know this, but Bob Dylan is from Minnesota. That's why we play his songs when you're on. Coupled with the fact that I'm a Bob Dylan fan, and it also annoys my producer, Tyler Lacey, who doesn't really understand the power of Bob Dylan. So he's from another generation. We're trying to educate him and get him a little bit up to speed, but he is from Minnesota, so you should be reveling in Bob Dylan, Ox. Don't you think?
Zimmerman from Hibbing, Minnesota. Yep, big fan.
And you know what? Wonderful story. He wanted to do music. He was in Minnesota. He had a good relationship with his father, and he wanted to go and do this and live his dream. And his father said, okay, you got to live your dream. And he bought him a bus ticket from wherever that town is in Minnesota to New York City. And he went to the bank, and he was a working guy. He drew out $225. He had $250 in his bank account. He gave him $225 cash, bought his ticket, and sent him on his way and said, live your dreams, son. It's just a wonderful story. He goes there to New York City. He had his guitar. He had a duffel bag of clothes. That's what he went with. He had no money, but that $225 from his father. These are the stories in life that make people who they are today. And when they tried to coerce Dylan into singing all those, liberal left-wing songs, he wouldn't do it. And he went his own way. And he said, hey, my songs are my songs. I'm not here so I can be part of whatever your political agenda is. And so that's why I am a huge Bob Dylan fan. Don't have to agree with everything, but this segment brought to you by the Safer Supervision Act. And the math is simple. We're wasting money on federal supervision that we don't need to because, look, the prisoners that have come out of jail, they've been released. Then they go on supervision. We want to be sure they're doing the right thing. That's why they're federally supervised. But we want them to not go back to jail. We want them to get a job. We want them to go back to their families. We want them to live a productive life. We want them to be a taxpayer, part of the community. And if they're being supervised unnecessarily, it impinges in their job, it impinges on their ability to move forward in life. And if they're passing the drug test, they have a job, there's no need for them to be supervised. So let's take our federal supervisors and focus them on the people that need the supervision and not those that don't, which is why I'm a big fan of federally fixing federal supervision to protect our communities, stop the waste and the cut down on recidivism. And I want you to go to safersupervision.com for help, safersupervision.com. This message paid for by the Reform Action Fund. Okay, let's get back to our panel here. We've got Michael P. Letts, we've got Ox. Ox, let's start with our big trip to Iowa. I understand that you, the Ox, are gracing Godzilla with your presence Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on our bus tour in Iowa. True or false?
Yeah, that's true. Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. We'll see how Thursday shakes out, but I can't wait to broadcast from the Trump bus.
You're going to the Trump bus. Saxman's going to be with us, so that's going to be fun. So we have to have our we have to have our resident rhino. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Saxman always throwing monkey wrenches into whatever we do. So he's kind of fun. We're going to have a good time. We're going to meet our driver, Larry. And let me just tell you this, on these bus tours, we work really hard, but we also have a lot of fun. So it's
Can't wait.
We're going to have fun, dude.
It'll be great.
We are going to have fun driving around Iowa in minus 20 degree weather. We're going to get a lot of politicians on, trying to figure out what's going on, Ox.
Yep, get the pulse of Iowa. Halfway from the last caucuses and to the next caucuses. What are Iowans thinking? I'm curious, two things, right? How do they feel about their pick 2 years ago? And who are they looking at in 2 years? And John, for those who haven't been to Iowa during the caucuses, they don't even realize how inaccessible these politicians are to the rest of the country. Because these presidential politicians, starting probably right this week and moving into the next, for the next 2 years, blanket Iowa. They're as common as iguanas are falling out of trees right now in Florida. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat in a coffee shop or a bar, restaurant, whatever, walking the streets of any Iowa town without hitting a presidential candidate. They get so, the Iowans get so comfortable with these candidates that, when it comes for them to cast their votes on caucus night, most of these people have had physical contact with all the candidates. It's really amazing. It's an anomaly that you only get when you go to Iowa and actually learn about that. I think they kind of take it for granted. But wow, especially next year is going to be huge.
You and I have traveled there together for these straw polls. We're of course going to go again in 28, but we had this idea to go just at the midpoint, which is what we're doing. And so that's going to be fun. And I've told this to my audience before. It's great being in D.C. It's great being a White House correspondent. It's great going to the White House every day. It's great living here. Most beautiful, cleanest, safest city on earth since President Trump took the thing over. But here's the risk: is you become isolated. You live in a bubble. You're only talking to the same people over and over and over, and that's why Ann and I made this decision over Christmas that we were determined to bring the bus out more, go to the people, like I did in Indiana in December or November, whenever, I think it was in December. Get a feel of what's going on. That's what you have to do. And I think that it's going to make a difference because we like to talk to the people. We're going around the state and seeing what's happening. I'm going to get to a poll here that President Trump mentioned. Get your guys' feedback on it. Guys, let's go to number 2. Trump saying the polls on the economy should be great as he's trying to make a case for the midterms. Now, if the election were held today, we all know that the Democrats would win a number of seats and take over. But 9 months is a long way off. Let's go to number 2. Take a listen.
I'm starting to get great polls on the economy, which I think
the polls on the economy aren't they're not great.
They should be great.
They should be. So why aren't they? If you believe that,
I don't know. I mean, look, I've got
Americans tell us. We hear this. I mean, we're going to get into the economy later, but they tell us they don't feel it.
Just so you understand. I have $18 trillion being invested into the country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and the whole country was going to credit.
When does America feel it?
You know that if they won that election, and we won in a landslide, if they won that election, this country I think it was finished. I actually think it was finished.
Reaction, Ox, to that.
Totally agree. Yeah. But, we're being told that the economy is bad. This is really very frustrating. Don't believe your lying eyes, right? We'll just listen to what the media is telling us. They're doing everything they can to try to, lose this element of why we vote for people just in time for the midterms. But John, it's hard to not buy into it, right? I mean, gas prices are down. I just bought a dozen eggs for 49 cents the other day. Things are coming down. Things are stabilizing. People are secure. They're just being told that they're not. And that's powerful. And I was lamenting on the show the other day, why is it a Democrat says one thing and it spreads like wildfire? Republicans say something 1,000 times and nobody pays any attention to it. It's fascinating to me. People just, I don't know, love to think of doom and gloom, I guess. Plus
why is that?
And any credit.
Well,
why is it?
I think, Dan, that, let's give credit where credit's due. The Democrats know how to use the media and how to do the pizzazz. They're great entertainers. Why do you think Hollywood is all liberal and leftist? They know how to put the right colors in, flash the right lights, grab the right attention. And we just sit there back and think that, well, I told you the truth. Is that not enough? That should be enough. It should be the way it was in the past. But Americans want to be entertained now. So we need to kind of use some of their playbook that the left use, and let's give them the truth, but let's dazzle it up a little bit. Let's have a little flashing lights in the back.
Yeah.
Have little cheerleaders come out, whatever else that we need to do to grab the attention that they do, and it works.
And right, and to your point, exactly, they understand what the human psyche craves, what we want. Unfortunately, it's not great news. We thrive on bad news. It's just how we're made. I don't know why. If it bleeds, it leads in the news. And God bless all people that think that there should be more positive news out there. But I tell you, if you listen to somebody who just talks positively all the time in the media, you switch over. I mean, it's just human nature, and Democrats figured it out. And
it doesn't make great water fountain talk, Dan. I mean, you know, I'd rather talk about, did you hear what just happened? That's what they want to say. They don't want to say, look at this great story. They want to be able to act like they really know the first inside bad information that nobody else has gotten to yet. Yeah. That's the way we're built.
Yeah, it is. And the Democrats have figured out how to exploit it. And they're based on emotion, not on reality. It's sad, but that's what's going on. So how do you combat that? You know, and I think we're learning. That's why it took a guy like Donald Trump to just smash all the, you know, the previous consultations and political, you know, ideals and philosophies on how Republicans can win and try something different. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, maybe a hybrid somehow, but he has certainly smashed it all. And now we got to figure out how to appeal to the emotions Republicans do of the human psyche.
Well, John, I think the next time I'm on your show, I'm going to wear my Superman costume or something along those lines. We need to spice it up a little bit, you know, and make sure that people pay attention next time.
There you go. There you go.
Ox and Michael, let's talked about this. And I earlier, President Trump, Tom Homan's press conference yesterday, and drawing down 700 ICE agents out of Minneapolis, saying that he's getting cooperation now from Minneapolis law enforcement. Ox, let's start with you. What was your reaction to that?
Great. It was a great press conference. I watched the whole thing. We aired some of it on my show. I appreciate him doing early press conferences, by the way, for my mid-morning show. But I tell you, what he did and what he talked about was exactly what the situation needed on both sides. And I thought it was leadership. I thought it was clearly assessing the situation. It certainly was not caving. Holman made a big deal about, hey, we are still enforcing. This is not a drawdown of the mission. This is just a scaling back because now we have this cooperation. And he admonished anybody who would still want to come here, you know, we're still enforcing, just to let everybody know. And I thought it was a great gesture, but I also think it's an effective way to manage the situation and still fulfill the mission. Disgusted that Mayor Frey came out immediately and called it a joke and said, no, we want them all gone or nothing. Wrong answer, Jacob Frey, as always.
So did you see this drawdown, Michael Piletz, as any capitulation to the mob scene?
Not in the least. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Here's what I love about Tom. What we were just talking about a minute ago. You know, Tom can throw in a few zingers here and there. He can keep it lively. And that's why he was so effective at the press conference. You know, we're not backing down. We're just making sure it's more clearly understood. You control the shots. You cooperate. You do what the law says to do. And we're not needed. We'll be happy to back down. There's plenty of other places in the country that need us. You don't? Fine. We'll stay for an eternity. Your call is very simple. When you make it in a lively type, you know, little zero and all, people appreciate that, and that's what sticks. And sometimes we on the right get a little bit boring, and we're more concerned about a monologue, and we're going to have to learn a little bit of tricks from the left.
Let's get to number 4 here, Tyler, if we can. Let's take a listen to this. This is Trump yesterday with the NBC News interview on deportations. Roll it. Take a listen.
About immigration, still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally, or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals, but I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers that Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured a lot of them. We've brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not sent back again.
Yeah.
Despite how strong the borders are, they'll figure a way to try and get in, and we don't want to, and we'll incarcerate them. But 11,888 murders.
Yeah.
We are after those people. We're after the drug dealers.
Right.
We are after, by the way, a big problem. They allowed to come into our country people from their mental institutions, people from insane asylums that are mentally ill and very dangerous. We're getting them out.
Okay, so we didn't really answer the question, and it was the right question. with that interviewer, I think it's Tom Elanis, I think was the right question. Are we just doing criminals, or are we going to do the 20 million? And Michael Pilecki really didn't answer that.
I think he took an opportunity to sidestep because, he didn't want to stir up a hornet's nest. Where I would have disagreed with the president is, look, the polls already show that we're so frustrated. We've already gone to the next stage. I appreciate you getting rid of all the criminals. Just get rid of them all, period. We are at that stage now. You say, why would we get to that stage? Look what the Somalians have done. Look what the Haitians have done. We're being raped, robbed, and stolen blind. We've had enough. I don't care whether you're personally involved in the crime or not. In fact, if you're here illegally, we don't want it anymore. And I think the president missed a key opportunity there. Yes, he could have said it, with a little bit of flowery, loving language. But the bottom line is we still need to address what the American voters want. And this is where we're getting to the midterm elections, John. The American voters want accountability. They appreciate these patent answers. But if we don't start seeing some results, we're going to have a hurting in the midterm election. Everybody knows it. So let's deal with it like it is. Say it like it is. We'll throw a little bit of brash, nice lights. We wear a little costume or whatever we need to do to get the point across. But let's deal with the reality of the situation and make the American people realize that what they voted for was the right thing, and America's better off because of it.
What do you think, Ox?
Yeah, and yes, I mean, that's fair, I think, but there's also a pragmatism element here, and I think that's what the president was saying. I was likening this to if you ever ask a law enforcement officer, a patrolman, so are you going to pull me over for going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, or 10, or what's the limit, and they will always tell you the speed limit is the speed limit. If you're going over the speed limit, you're breaking the law. If Trump comes out and says, no, we're only going after the felons, well, now he's basically setting that as the limit. Like, no cop is going to say, nah, you can go 10 over. Well, that's the new speed limit then, right? So you can't say that. And then, like Holman said yesterday, you can't say that because what does that do? All of a sudden, all the floodgates open back up on the southern border. The cartel's eyes light up. And all of a sudden, great. Okay, they're not going to go after the people who have criminal records. Good. And now we're going to just fill the country full of people that aren't criminals illegally. So you can't come out and say it, but pragmatically, you can't do all of that, especially with public sentiment the way it is right now. So I think right now they're just reassessing the whole situation and seeing what public opinion is and what we really want. That would be my take on it.
Michael, what do you think of the body cams on ICE agents?
I think that's a mistake. You say, well, it protects the officer. Look, we're not patrol officers. What we deal with illegal immigrants, and we deal with the criminal illegal immigrants. If we're doing our job correctly, John, I'm just moving you from one detention center, putting you over in a federal detention center, putting you on a plane and sending you home. I don't really need the body cam. If the body cam, people need to understand this. Yes, it provides me protection. It records what I'm doing. But it's another object that gets in the way. If we're getting into a struggle, you decide you and I are going to have a little tango before we do a takedown. It just gets in my way, and it can be an obstacle, quite frankly. And sometimes we fail to realize the reality of situations, that everything that is touted to be good sometimes has a negative aspect to it as well.
Well, I think I'm taking a different position on this than you are, Michael, and I'm doing it because of Corey Lewandowski. I mean, Lewandowski is the one that came up with this, and apparently sold it to his boss Noam, and now they're doing it. And Corey's position on this was, it's really to protect the officer, because if you have a body cam, you can go right to that camera. You don't need people with cell phones and all kinds of different angles. It's either there or not. And he says it's for their own protection. So Lewandowski's as tough as anybody on illegal immigration. And, he inferred to me that he had basically been behind this and thought it was the right thing to do. Ox, what do you think of the body cams?
I think it is the right thing to do for several reasons, optics for one thing, PR for another thing. But I was reading something about, according to law enforcement, the people that have been asked about this, and whatever the statistics are, but it's like 80 or 82% good, right? So it's like, yeah, there is an element of bad to it, right? Like Michael was saying, but the bulk of it is seen as positive by these officers, and I would take that as something then that you got to do, especially if they're available. If they're available and you're not doing it, I think the public is not going to be happy with that. So I think Lewandowski probably gave good advice on this deal.
All right, guys, I want to thank you for being with us. Great panel. Got the Ox man coming. Ox people want to follow you. Where do they go?
At Hot Talk with Ox or at KNSIRadio.com.
All right, and I'm going to see you on Tuesday on the Trump bus in Iowa. We'll be in, I believe Tuesday we'll be in Des Moines still. We get there first day on Monday, so we'll look forward to having you there. Now, are you getting up early? Are you going to come with us and be on my show, or what's your plan?
Oh yeah, I'm hanging with you. Maybe not for the whole show because you get up really early.
Yeah, you don't have to be there at 6 because it's 5 Iowa time.
Right. I might have some flapjacks, and some sausage or something, and then.
But are you staying? You're staying at the same hotel we are, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we'll be in the parking lot. It's right on whatever that highway is, 31 or 71. I forget what it is, but right up there. So you just come on the bus. But I'll see you on Sunday or Monday or whenever.
Yep.
And that's going to make it easy. Saxman's going to be with us. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of people on, a lot of callers. So we're going to have fun there. Thanks for being with us. And let's see. No one will be on time in Iowa after the goose. Yes, we do. In the words of Dr. Oz on the bus after hours, we do believe in social lubrication, just so you know.
Cameras off. Right.
Hey, let's people.
Love it.
Oz called it social lubrication. I actually called him up at home and thanked him for that. I'm like, you know what? You have that's the best way to ever put it. Like, John, you drink too much. No. According to Dr. Oz, it is healthy social lubrication. Good for the soul, he said. Good to mingle with people. He says it's good for you. John, you drink too much. No, I don't. Social lubrication.
Just not for breakfast, he says. Just not for breakfast.
For justifying my consumption.
I'm impressed. Now you're starting the leftist liberal, adding the nice little words and the flowery things. We're headed down the right direction. Thank you for starting us off the right way, John. That's fantastic.
Social lubrication. Me and the goose, baby. We're going to be socially lubricating. So we got to get Saxman. Saxman's a bourbon guy. Like, Larry's a bourbon guy. Like, whatever, dude. Okay. I'll see you next week. Hey, people want to follow you. Where do they go?
They go to investusa.org. It's a charity.org. And thank you, John, for all that you're doing. Looking forward. Now, remember, South Carolina is one of the key primary states, early states as well. So I'll make sure we introduce you the right way when your bus gets down this way.
You keep me posted there, and I know we're going to Iowa. Of course, next week. I want to go to New Hampshire. We're going to Maine, and now we might make a detour and go to the North Georgia mountains.
Well, we're right next door, so you'd have to come right through my state.
Okay, that's right. We'll have to stop there. We'll be right back, folks. We've got who we got coming up next. We've got Chief Sund, Washington D.C. Capitol Police is next. Thanks, guys. Stay with us.